This week's 5-minute video is brought to you by More Storytelling. This week has been pretty busy with work, as well as I was out of town for the weekend visiting some family because my brother-in-law had a kid. And so the procreate is still on the back burner. I'm still slogging through the brush setup and the technicality and things that, as someone who's just starting to learn how to paint and shaking cameras, I don't really need to know. I'm not super interested in all the brush setup. It's for more advanced people, and for me at this point, it's just a lot of extra information. It's like when you start something and you're very excited to start it, and then someone starts throwing the boring technical stuff at you that would be helpful if you're very skilled, but because I can put a pen to paper and scribble a little bit, knowing the brush size and tweaking it to get certain looks is so far above my skill level that I'm still slogging through it. At this point, this following week, I'm probably just going to move on. I have 2 setup drawing things that I'm going to work on. And try to stop shaking this camera so much. Good Lord. And so I dived more into storytelling because when you're at work, it is much easier to look at your phone, read some Google to learn about storytelling. So I'm actually a communication major. I said that in my first video. And so I dove into a little bit of rhetoric and revisited some rhetoric topics, the pathos, logos, and ethos, and how that is very helpful in storytelling. I also looked at contrast and how building contrast in a story creates interest. It creates tension in the reader. And so with that contrast, they develop an interest. There's an unsolved problem through contrast. So the further deep dive into that has really set me up. So now I'm in an interesting position. I was using frameworks last week, but while using a framework, it's very easy to fall into talking to a script or reading a script and then just talking to a camera. And I've noticed through the posts in the last week, the ones that I'm more passionate about, it's easier to say and tell the topic in a way that isn't a script. You can sense it it's like going up and talking to someone in McDonald's who doesn't want to do that job. They don't want to be there. They're just there because they have to pay their bills. Well, if you don't care about the thing that you're talking about, you're going to be that person there, not developing contrast, not showing, there's just no life to it. And if you're not going to give life to it, why would anyone else care or give life to it? So the contrast, the ethos, pathos, and logos. And also, the other thing that I've been looking at is building on things. Another thing that's important to storytelling is there's always a but or a therefore. So you're either adding on to build deeper into something, or you're changing the paradigm with a but, and you're kind of, again, going back on a high level, just building contrast. And so for the last bit of this video, my wife and I have been starting to watch Frieren again. If you haven't seen it, it's an anime. And in my opinion, it's very good at telling a story, not just through contrast of action, which you're going to get most animes nowadays, is just a lot of not beating you down rather, but it's just a lot of action. It's a lot of dopamine hit of constant action. Whereas Frieren does a lot of its storytelling through emotional, like contrast of character development. So you get a character who is a certain way, let's say standoffish, but they show parts of the show where they're showing a change. So you take the standoffish character and you pull them out of their shell a little bit through an experiment, or an experiment, a life-changing moment. It's easy to connect with the characters because they're hitting challenges and growing from it. And then when there is a fight in the show, it's so well thought out in time that you're not getting beat with that dopamine of constant fighting. You're hit with, wow, this is very meaningful. There's a reason they're doing this, because every character is developing. So although I didn't get to dive into Procreate as much as I'd like this week, I'm still drawing. Still drawing, still working on things. The storytelling continues to improve. Still working on the filler words. But now it's hopefully into the next week, a deeper dive into building on stories, building on content, while also, I guess, the character development if I can, but the building on content and finding a way to fit my voice into it and to find the passion, especially talk about the things that, light a little bit of a fire in me.